Hey everyone, and welcome to this Meta Talk video, when today, Mards and we're gonna discuss the units that were used in the SWC 2022 so far, and actually, why.
Yeah, exactly. We are not quite sure, or I'm not quite sure, why some units have been used in this meta right now. They have different usages, different skills, and since you are way more knowledgeable than I am, I wanted to ask you why these units have been used, and also we explain to you guys, the viewers, why they have been used in this specific meta.
Exactly, and then when you watch the World Finals, you have an idea of the mindset of the players and what they think when they pick some units. And as you can guess, some units are used by everyone.
Oh, wait.
yeah, a few ones.
I can think of at least two right on top of my head.
So some are used by everyone, but there were some differences between the regions, because there was the Europe Cup, the America's Cup, and the Asia Pacific, plus
the China qualification tournament.
Yeah, and those we could see some differences in the, let's say, the way the players like to play. But let's talk about the most OP ones, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. The ones that have been used in every single region.
So, which unit should we talk about first?
There's one that comes to mind, right? It's the most banned, the most picked, the most seen in SWC this year.
And the most seen and the most not seen because it's the most pre-banned as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver. And why?
Oliver. I mean, the first thing that for a basic viewer is like, okay, he has 33% speed lead. Speed is king, still an RTA, so I guess this is one of the big reasons. But what makes him so much better than, like, let's say, other 33% speed leads? Samafi, Vanessa.
Because when he moves, you lose?
Okay.
Basically.
But yeah, his kit, like, it makes it so good, right? Like, the fact that he can get so much value out of one violent proc makes him so good.
Yeah, the first skill absorbs all the attack bar, so he moves again for free, and then he does the second skill, and then if he gets a proc, he does it again. It's crazy good.
Yeah, and both skills basically set the skills back from the enemy. So that is just way too good in itself, that both skills do this. It would be even nice if the first skill also does it, right?
Yeah, right, yeah. Oliver Perfuen. No, don't riot. Yeah. So yeah, but and the thing is that even without the Valiant proc, it puts so much pressure that when you see an Oliver, you want to defend against yourself.
Yeah.
Like you say, okay, he has Oliver, what can I put? And that's when people opt for Masha.
Yeah, Masha.
Fire Beast Rider. Yeah, thanks. She has a passive that gets immunity all the time.
Yeah, as soon as she attacks, right?
So at least she's not easily controlled by a team that is resolved with crowd control. And she did a lot of damage, and she's fire. So when someone is committing some win draft with Oliver and other units, then she's really good.
Yeah, and also like what I want to add on this thing is the fact that she also absorbs attack bar. Like similar like Oliver, with her second skill, she also can absorb attack bar, immediately get another turn.
Yeah.
And her skills are on such a low cooltime that she can basically keep armor breaking, keep dealing out the high pressure, high damage. It makes her just way too good. So.
And on top of that, she has in her passive a reduction from attack bar reduction. She gets less alphabet, right? Yeah, I think it's alphabet.
Yeah, half. I think it's half. Like I'm not quite sure on the exact, but I'm pretty sure it's half.
Yeah, so she's really good unit to pick against Oliver. What other things did we see often in SWC?
Oh yeah, Ryu, like the Water Ryu, or also called like Water Striker, Moore, like same unit. But also speed lead, also a stripper, not a very high chance of stripping when he attacks, but cope with his like passive. The fact that he gets attacked, gets also another turn. I see a pattern here, by the way. Like,
yeah, right.
You immediately get a turn after something happens. Like it seems to be working very well, and he works so good with like a specific setup. Because he strips, he's kind of a stripper. You want the second one, you can pair him up with a few more units, like, what is there?
Xiongpong, any crowd control unit. We saw back in the day some Carnals, a bit less now.
Yeah.
Charlotte
as well, exactly.
Anything that controls the opponent team is really good with that.
Yeah. And one big unit. I really want your take on this, because how would you explain? We have seen this unit so many times. It's Shizuka. And Shizuka, come on, like, since her recent buff, like no one played it before, but then she got a buff, like, she's like one of these foam pillars, you know, you lie in there and the pillar remembers how you like lay on it. Shizuka is the foam pillar of Summoner's War.
Yeah.
She remembers every single buff, every single debuff, and with her third skill, she applies every single debuff onto the enemy side for 1 turn, and on your side you get all the good buffs for 2 turns.
Yeah, it's very strong.
Yeah.
There are a lot of combos. Whenever there are some good buffs, let's say immunity or invisibility as well, then she's like super strong. And if the fight drags on, wow, yeah, she has insane value.
Yeah, especially with like bombs on the enemy team. They also like explode immediately. So
yeah.
It's a free stun, even if they're not stunned before. She can also, with her second skill, reset the cooltime.
Oh yeah, right. We forget about the second skill.
We've got the most obvious stuff, but this is so good. It has been seen so many times that it's life-saving.
Yeah, she brings back a spell from an ally, and she can just use it right away. Or if someone is alive, she will soul protect, which means that it will save an ally from death. Yeah, she's OP.
She's OP. She's OP.
She's OP.
And the last 2 units we wanted to talk about, which have been picked mostly, is actually units that are very good against Shizuka. It's 2 strippers and it's 2 oracles. It's Praha and Juno.
Yeah, for real. So Praha, she's like the healing support that is very loved by the community now. Yeah. And she has in the same kit, she has a crowd control spell actually. Because sometimes people use her after a strip, like say Xiongpong or Ryu, to just turn 1, use the heal to sleep the opponents. And so she's very, very strong. Yeah.
She also gets like, our own team gets a speed buff as well out of it. So this is one of the recent buffs she got. That's what made her actually appear into this meta, I would say. Yeah. And Juno, obviously Juno is the hard counter against Shizuka in most of the cases.
And to control in general.
Yeah, crowd control in general. Like, as soon as she gets debuffed, it's like passive healing you get, but also the recent speed buff. A lot of oracles, they got like not their cycling ability now with their first skill, but with a passive that they get the speed buff immediately and get another turn. It's crazy how often they move, and they do some damage with oracles.
Oh yes, they do. The first skill is like a truck. Yeah, so you should be aware Praha or the Juno. It's not just the defensive value out of it, because they deal damage.
And now that we have been really gone over all these units that have been widely used in all the cups, I would say we took a closer look into the different specific cups.
Yeah, and the first one to happen was the Europe Cup. Yeah. So let's go. So tell me if you agree with me, but I feel like in the Europe Cup, of course we see the most matches from the people who qualify, and we have a champion which loves to play very aggressive. Yeah. So there was a lot of aggressivity. They like to fight in Europe. They don't like a dragon fight. And there was some plays that went through the damage and that's it. And we saw, I think it's the only region mostly when we saw Tableau.
Yeah, Tableau. Tableau was used so widely by not just one person, so it's like by more people. Roxas, Pinkred, both of them played like Tableau to near perfection, I would say. Yep. Very aggressive also with like units that completely could wipe your team with like Light Dragon, Seraph or something. It's something you rarely see these days in SWC. It's pretty crazy.
There is so much at stake during the fight that people often use safe comps. You know, okay, I'm not gonna take any risks, but they just want to nuke stuff. And so we saw Molong as a damage dealer, Dominic, what else did you see?
They did play around still with these monsters like Marsha and stuff like this as well.
Yeah, of course.
They had these units, but the fact that what Tableau makes so good in my opinion is like they all switched now to a Vio Tableau, not like a Swift Tableau. I remember one distinctive in my head, like Pinkroyd used the Vio Tableau. His units moved 6 times. 2 or 3 units were gone on the enemy side before he could even move.
Yeah, because if you don't know the kit of Tableau, the third skill will reduce attack bars to 0 from enemy and ally, and then give a speed buff to yours so that you can move again. So if your team goes first and then Tableau's moves, then you move twice.
Yeah, exactly. So you get 6. Your 3 other remaining monsters are allowed to move like 6 times in total before the enemy is even allowed to move once. And if that works, because there are some counters to it, but if that works, it's basically game over for you.
And what did we see in the US?
It's actually funny that like the key monster of US is Rika, but the unit that has been like evolving in the US was basically Nana.
Oh yeah.
It's a different kind of aggressiveness, I would say, because you have also a lot of safety.
Yeah.
But US played it in a way that they just, at least it feels to me like they pulled like all the damage in there, put a Nana on top, and said like, okay, we're gonna attack and see what sticks.
It's actually true. Yeah. So we saw some good damage units. So Dominic was in the Europe. We didn't say why, by the way. Yeah, why is he so strong as a damage dealer?
Dominic is crazy because he doesn't really need a lot of different stats, basically.
Yeah.
You make him tanky, you give him a lot of attack. It's fine at HP as well. He's an HP monster. He deals more damage the more HP he has. He doesn't really glance. His passive is just like when he attacks, when he gets a proc, it's a dead unit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because his passive gives a free hit, and he gives a lot of damage according to his attack as like pure damage, let's say. So it deals a lot of damage. Yeah, like you say, Violent proc, you're dead.
Yeah, Violent proc, you're dead. And also on the second skill, he has Branding, which even like elevates his damage a little bit higher if he lands the Branding on the first hit. So Dominic is just like a crazy strong unit, and paired with monsters like Nasha or Masha.
Yeah,
Masha.
Actually, yeah. One of those girls on the beast.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get to kill something, and with Nana, when you kill someone, there is this snowball effect that you were winning already, but now you're just like destroying the opponent because you get soul, I think that's the name?
Yeah, soul stacks, I think it's called.
And it revives someone when one of your allies dies.
Yeah, it's crazy. It can go up to 3 stacks. And at one point, when you like kill 2 other monsters of the other side, you have 3 stacks on your side. So basically, people always say like, okay, there are 2 monsters on this side. It's now 7 against 2.
Exactly, yeah.
Because even if these 2 monsters like manage to take out another monster on your side, gets revived immediately back again, and like, oh, by the way, it's back again, and you're still messed up. So
for sure.
That's crazy good.
And for the finals, Narsha is not really meta, but we're gonna see her because Trueil qualified with her. And she just defense breaks every turn and is a lot of damage. So beware, there's gonna be some Narsha in the finals.
Nasha, Masha. We all see the Beast Riders, they come back now.
And as a side note, because Nana was super strong, but recently there was a buff to play against Nana. Carlos got a buff.
Carlos, yeah.
And now he gets a 100% attack bar when someone dies. Yeah. So if you kill someone and Nana brings him back again, he just moves again, and he can just...
He moves like, we saw one. I like this motion, I like this motion. But yeah, we have seen Carlos move like 3 or 4 times in a row, taking out the whole team. He was on Vampire as well. He did crazy amounts of damage with Nana, because he also gets like more attack. When the unit dies, doesn't matter if it's on your side or on the enemy side,
exactly,
you get more attack, up to 300%. So it's crazy how much damage he can do at one point. So, and as you said, he moves. As he kills, he moves. So
if you have Nana and Carlos, if you get to kill a few things, then it will just like create some soul stacks, and it's like free to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Free to go. So that was about the specific unit that was displayed in the America's Cup. Let's jump into the Asia Pacific Cup.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so now we reached Asia Pacific Cup, and what we've seen there was like interesting to see, to say the least. Let's talk first about the 2 monsters that have been like coming out for me the most, which was first up the Wind Robo.
Oh, the best. He's the best. He's just the best.
It's the best, like the animations, it's the best thing. From a monster that hasn't been used at all to now in Asia, like nearly every single match we have seen, like as soon as someone wants to go for turn 1, there's a Wind Robo.
Yeah, and if you go turn 2 with some water units, let's put a Robo, you know?
Let's put a Robo.
The thing is with him is that his second skill is very strong turn 1 because he can remove every buff on the enemy and absorbs the attack bar to do the third skill.
Yeah. So and the third skill, immediately he attacks one unit. If this unit gets stunned, he attacks the next unit. If this unit also gets stunned, he attacks the next unit. So in the best possible scenario, you could strip all the immunity of the enemies and then stun the whole team. It's crazy how the Wind Robo has now so much value as well. So that was crazy.
No, he is really strong. And another unit, actually a Wind one as well, made a kind of debut in SWC. It was Giu, or Giu, I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, I think it's also Giu.
Yeah, let's say Giu, okay, from now on. Yeah, so the Wind on Myoji has actually a passive that is strong against Oliver, which is mostly used, and other units that are strong because of a strong spell. Anytime someone uses like a spell with a cooldown, like not the first skill, just on the first skill, she will get attack bar, refresh a cooldown of second skill by 1 turn, and the second skill is Karma. And Karma is that if someone uses the spell, this unit will lose 50% of HP and cooldown will be increased. for the next time.
Yeah, exactly. And she has like she can do it like every second round. I think it's so good. And also we have seen like you don't need to put her on Vio or something because she gets 100% attack power immediately back. So
they put despair on her a lot of time.
It stuns so many times.
Yeah, there were so many stuns.
It was crazy to see this. And yeah, the last thing, which was very big, is actually I wanted to talk about 2 units, which is Tessarion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tessarion and Delphoy.
Oh yeah, Delphoy was super unique. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, he's banned as well.
Because I don't know why I was so afraid of her, because actually she's a strong immunity, sustain, Oblivion as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, anytime she was put in the last pick, it was like, ban. Immediately ban.
Immediately ban the Delphoy. It's so funny to me that Delphoy now is one of the scariest units out there, basically. But yeah, the Oblivion completely delete or not what
removes
the passive. So let's say there's a Perna on the other field. On the other field, it's like okay, there.
Exactly.
You have Oblivion, you die now.
That's why people don't like Tessarion. And there was a combo that was nice actually. Like you put some Oblivion on the unit, and the Fire Emoji.
Yeah, Tomoe.
Yeah, can spread to everyone, or Shizuka can do to everyone, and then the passive teams are kind of useless.
Completely useless, like because they rely on their passive, and there was one moment where a whole team had 4 passives.
Yeah.
Everything was Oblivion, and they did nothing.
You lost at this point.
They just lost. So Asia Pacific, definitely interesting region. Definitely, in my opinion, felt a little bit weaker this season.
It felt like they were trying new stuff to counter like stronger opponents.
Yeah.
You saw a few Chandras as well, so people were like finding solutions, and sometimes it didn't work properly. Let's say.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, definitely very curious, and there's only one region left.
The China qualification match, right?
Exactly.
So there was one player who qualified through the China region, and it's Tars, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Tars. Yeah.
And one thing that stood out, because of course there were some strong Nat5 LD Latin Dark units, but there was one unit that he used very well. It was the Veresa.
Yeah, exactly. Veresa, like also a first turn unit, strips the whole enemy team, also puts glancing,
attack break.
Yeah.
And the second skill absorbs so much attack bar that she gets to ignore defense. Yeah. She's really, really strong overall.
I remember he played her on Vio even. Like she did crazy amounts of damage. It was, I don't know, it felt like, yo, here you have a support unit, but she did the most damage at the same time.
True. So she's super strong against like Masha or Dominic because attack break and a bit of glancing helped to deal with that damage.
Yeah, so China, Tars, definitely also very interesting units to see. I hope we can see more of him in the World Finals. And yeah, that's all the regions basically. So and that's it so far for all the monsters, the most used monsters during the Cups. And now to summarize the meta, it would be first turn, you try to control your enemy, you try to brute force the damage. For example, with Molong, Nana.
Molong, Dominic, like damage, exactly. Or maybe you can just adapt to what's in the opponent team and try to find the right counter. It's not so easy sometimes.
It seems to not work that well right now in this meta, but some people qualified like that.
Exactly, yeah. There were some qualifications from that, because there are some unique kits, some rare monsters, light and dark, that sometimes make the difference. So maybe we're gonna see some surprises in the finals, but expect some control and some damage.
And speaking about finals, like the finals actually happen on the 12th of November, so definitely make sure tune into that. It's on Twitch, on YouTube, in many different languages, so there is definitely one for you as well. Come, definitely, watch it. It will be definitely very interesting. Also, maybe free stuff, who knows?
Yeah, right. So that's it for today. Thanks, Mards.
Yeah, thanks, Sheisou.
And see you next time.